Just caught wife of 10 years having emotional affair for the second time with the same guy from 4 years ago. It's been 1 month since I discovered my wife of 10 years was having an emotional affair again. We've been married 18 years and have 3 children under the age of 9. And I'd appreciate some help and comments on what to do. In conclusion, I discovered several communications between my wife and a coworker from her side company 4 years ago and discovered that they were having an emotional affair. He was going through a divorce, was lonely and miserable, and had confided in my wife quite a bit. The messages weren't, but there were a lot of I love yous, I miss yous, my heart bleeds for yous, basic flirting and so on. I questioned her, and she attempted to dismiss it as simply friendship and support for him during a difficult time, and she too had gone through a difficult period with her mother's illness, but she confessed the texts had gotten a bit out of hand and sounded horrible. I was crushed because I love her more than anything, and we've had the finest connection for so long that there was never a reason not to believe her. She apologized and vowed to contact him again, only if it was absolutely essential for the company. For a few weeks I was depressed, but I forgave her and tried to go on. I took her out to dinner, communicated more, and took her and the kids away for a vacation, and things were back on track with me putting in the majority of the work. About a month after I found out, I came across some more conversations with a lot of lovey-dovey things. She hadn't been able to sleep or eat without his touch for the 2 weeks it lasted and was overjoyed that they were speaking again. Hundreds of texts like this, but nothing. They remained in contact while we were on vacation, and she even sent him images of herself in her tight exercise attire to cheer him happy, no nudes. So my heart was crushed once again, and after a few weeks of her apologizing and assuring me she loved me and it was all a mistake, and that she had no emotions for him, I ultimately forgiven her and tried to go on. She was going to travel on a business trip abroad to where he would be, but I informed her she couldn't. She pleaded with me for many weeks to let her leave, assuring me that I could trust her and that nothing bad would happen. I surrendered at the last minute and allowed her go on one condition: no talking to him and no being alone with him, which she agreed to. I wasn't sure about her going, but she'd be sharing a hotel room with somebody I knew, and he'd be there with his wife, so nothing bad could happen. During the trip, I get a phone call from his wife, who claims she just walked in on him and my wife having. She subsequently stated this was not the case, but she did walk in on them alone in his room, where she was sitting on the bed with clothes on and he was nude and presumably in the bathroom. Nothing physical occurred, I was informed. They were all heading out to eat as a group. I was really unhappy because I was on the other side of the globe looking after the kids when I found out about all of this. The one promise of not talking or being alone with this person, and she finds up in his hotel room alone with him. My heart is crushed for the 3rd time, and I really contemplate leaving her, but we had 2 children at the time, and she apologized profusely and assured me that nothing had occurred. After a few weeks of sadness, I finally forgave her and gave her one more opportunity, but I made it plain that if she ever made contact with him again, we were done for good. 1 year later, everything were fine between us, and trust was restored, until I overheard a phone conversation she was on to her closest friend and heard her say that she had met this man in the city during her lunch break, and he filled her in on everything about his divorce, and they had a fantastic catch-up. As you can guess, I was distraught when I heard this. It was my birthday, and we were ready to go see relatives, but I simply left, knowing that it was all over between us. She said it was a quick but harmless catch-up, that he was miserable and suicidal and needed someone to speak to, and that she loved me and hadn't talked to him in a year and simply wanted to be happy with me. I was upset for many weeks and vowed to leave, but as time passed, I ultimately forgave her for the 4th time since we were halfway through constructing a home together, and I didn't want to damage our children's lives. She said that she only loved me. Fast forward to now, and we have this new house and another child last year, and after noticing odd behavior for many weeks, I knew I had to check her phone, and yes, there was a very long message from her to him saying they had been in touch for more than a year and recently, during COVID, had turned into a full-blown emotional affair, messaging thousands of messages every morning and every night. He recently gotten a new girlfriend and attempted to stop communicating, but my wife had stated her love for him and expressed her longing for them to be together, saying that hope one day they will be. She also said that she would always love him, that she can't survive without his touch and support, that she can't eat, that she can't sleep, that it's so terrible to let him go, and so on. She implored him to remain in contact, saying she thought about him every night in bed with her underpants on, and that she had just sent him some undies, and that it was her duty to take them off him the next time they met. She ended the message by adding she can't wait to see him and embrace him once the COVID limitations are lifted. I nearly had a heart attack reading this, and I'm still unwell a month later, and I thought for sure our marriage was finished after all the unfulfilled promises. She says it was all for emotional support during her lonely periods in COVID. I discovered that they did reconnect in person earlier this year, and that they had had a kiss in the past, but nothing more. She believes it was a dream world in which the words and messages had no meaning, and she didn't want to lose the emotional support. She felt she couldn't come to me and express how she felt or how lonely she was, so this seemed like an easy way out. She maintains that she has no affections for this man. In the month after I found out, she claims to have broken off all communication, been seeing a therapist, and told me every day that she was going to change, that she loves me and only me, and that she wants us to be happy again. Wants nothing more than to get support, attention, and emotional support from me, and no one else, since this would result in improved physical affection, which has been lacking. My mind and emotions shift every few hours from the need to leave this woman to the possibility that we can make it work. I honestly don't know what to do, and I feel sick all of the time. Thinking about those words she wrote to another man, all the broken promises, all the heartache, all the lying, betrayal, deceit, and so on. I'd appreciate some input, opinions, and suggestions on what to do next. Most of the time, I consider leaving and moving on, but we have 3 wonderful children that I love more than anything else in the world, and I can't bear the notion of only seeing them every 2 weeks and destroying their lives, etc. She wants to go to counseling and is willing to go to any length for one more opportunity, but I feel like it's occurred far too many times and she's had far too many opportunities. Please assist. Story 2. Sliding into DM considered cheating. My boyfriend and I have an Instagram business page that is connected to his primary personal account, so when I log in it also comes up his profile on my phone. I'm not sure whether he realizes it or not, but he's always been upfront about revealing his accounts and other information. I was looking through his messages the previous day and saw that he had messaged an extremely gorgeous fitness girl's account. He had responded to her tale, which I couldn't see. Oh my, I'm speechless. That's not acceptable. I go back further and discover that he messaged another really gorgeous girl back in October. We've been together for 4 years and have established limits that have evolved somewhat over time. We've always claimed we desire open and honest communication, therefore we opted not to talk with strangers online. I recognized his Reddit handle after seeing him remark on some highly postings, stating he'd love to F and CK the girl who uploaded the essentially pornographic photos. I told him I didn't like it because what happens if you reach out to someone and they respond? To me, it's an invitation to walk down a path that leads to cheating. It irritates me to see him write to these females. I'm sure he'll claim it's all innocuous and that he didn't say anything, but really? Why? Is this a kind of cheating, and what should I do about it? I told him I saw the private messages. I didn't mention IG, and he replied he has no idea what I'm talking about. I claimed it didn't matter, and he responded he had no clue. He messaged this girl 5 days ago, so he doesn't understand what I'm saying. He just needs to glance at his financial statements. So I'm wondering whether he's been communicating on other sites and didn't want to confess it since he doesn't know which texts I'm referring to. At this point, I feel like this relationship is going to fail, and I should simply call it quits before we purchase a home or get married and complicate matters. I should mention that we met while married to other people and both left our wives. It seems to be in his nature to seek attention and converse with attractive women. I advised him to always simply speak about how he's feeling and to inform me if he needs more than just me. My heart is pounding.